It's a beautiful day here in Uruguay, and let's get straight to the topic. Can you find work here faster than you do in the States? Or in other words, is it easier to find work here in Uruguay versus back in America? And I'm going to try to give you my opinion about it. And let's say, so a while ago I watched a video on another channel of a woman who moved from I think she moved from Michigan down here with almost no savings, no work, no remote work, and yeah, she came up basically with her bags and something like that. I would like to interview her, but I'm not sure how to reach out to her so she can tell me the whole story. But if I remember well, that's what she said in that interview. And well, she struggled for a while and she couldn't find work for several months, if I remember well. So she was kind of looking for jobs everywhere. Eventually she landed a position with a local company or corporation, I forget what it was, and then she started doing pretty well for herself. She got an apartment in downtown, paying about $600 to $800 for it a month, which is pretty good. Not too expensive, not too cheap either, but about the same price that apartments go for in the South in United States. But she struggled to find work for a good while, and that's the story with a lot of locals, with a lot of Uruguayans who try to find work, and it's super tough. And I'm not saying there are no jobs, there are, but the problem is there's so much competition for the same job. There's like several applicants, and that makes it very competitive, very hard to land one, very hard to land a job because of that. And unless you are in a very specialized field, but even there it's not easy. And you have to remember, Uruguay is a small economy, unlike places like Brazil or Argentina, where those places are larger, so you can probably find, regular work over there, like a barista at a coffee shop or something like that, if you needed something quick. But that's much harder to do that here because, like I said, too many people competing for the same spot. Look at these those. And so, but how does that compare now with America? A lot of viewers probably have the perception that America is still the land of opportunity and all that stuff. And don't get me wrong, it is. But times have changed. I keep up with the latest news on the employment on the employment side, and my work also comes from the States, and it's been tough. Clients are not hiring, companies are laying off, especially in big tech. Corporations are going with the excuse of using AI and all that stuff, but they are downgrading, in my opinion, because they're just using the excuse of AI to, just to try to reduce costs and all that stuff, so they can show that they are profitable, and they are right now. I mean, they're still making a ton of money. So nobody's hiring over there, and ironically, the same stuff that happens here with employment it's also happening over there. But now but now it's happening on a mass scale because America's a huge country. And sure enough, yes, you can find work over there, probably faster, but you have to also remember it's a larger country. So you probably have to travel to another state to find work. And that's basically like going to another country. Because if you go from Alabama to South Carolina, that's 8 hours easy, 6 to 7 hours more or less, from what I remember. And so it's not as easy as it seems. The only fields that seem to be doing well right now in America are the trades, because those guys are, from what I hear, are doing pretty well right now. But everybody else, especially in tech, is struggling to find a job. Even people that are really well positioned, they have really nice degrees, careers, history, work history, and all that stuff, they cannot find work. And that's been also my dilemma, because most of the clients I used to get were from the States, and now I'm starting to see clients from abroad that are actually paying more than American companies. I'm a freelancer, by the way, so I can see it also on my end that things are really bad right now with the economy. It has been bad since at least 2 or 3 years, especially since companies introduced all these tech bros introduced the AI stuff and all that, and now they are using that to replace workers, which honestly they cannot. AI cannot replace workers. It does a terrible job, but these corporations think they can. They really are heavily invested into AI. Even YouTube is doing that, but I digress. The bottom line is, if you struggle to find work in the States, in a way you're also gonna struggle to find work here, because the playing field, it's kind of similar right now. And but I'm gonna say this though, I think you probably have more chances of finding a job in tech or something here than in America. That's how bad things are, in my opinion. But just look at the stats. Unemployment is super high over there right now, and government always shows you a figure, yeah, but that's not a figure that says unemployment is low and all that stuff. They have always done that, but in reality, if you look at the real stats provided by private companies, it's super high right now. Lots of people unemployed. Lots of people I talk to are without a work. Fortunately, some of my friends back in Alabama have work, but you never know. But they are in the South, and the South is doing better than the rest of the country for the most part. But again, depends on what state. Some states are doing better than others. You have to remember, each state is almost the size of Uruguay. So it's like a country in and of itself, right? So I don't know what to tell you, but in my opinion, things are pretty much the same. Now, if you had money, you could probably come to Uruguay and start a business or something. You have to look into that. I don't know. I've looked into that myself, but I'm not sure what I would do, to be honest. And but I think there might be opportunities there. You just have to take your time. Or you do like that lady, and she moved. She took a risk. And I think life is like that. Sometimes you have to take risk. If your situation back home is not good, then you go elsewhere and call it a day. Hope for the best. I mean, that's all you can do, right? So I remember back 2019, 2018 or so, the economy in America was doing very well until the 20s, you know, and you know the rest, of course. But and all that money printing and all that stuff, handouts and whatnot, that was a huge amount of money put in the system, and what you got? The inflation. And that inflation hasn't gone away since then. Actually, I think it's worse right now. So I don't think inflation-wise, I don't think Uruguay is as bad, because the economy here is more stable in that sense. That's one of the advantages that Uruguay has, even when you have governments that are kind of mess things up. It's still, for the most part, pretty stable. But it's not, I'm not gonna lie, it's not easy to find work here, especially if you have, like, let's say you're a Christian and you don't want to work on Sundays because you want to keep the Lord's Day. It's hard to find a job that will accommodate you, you know. Heck, but even in the States, it's hard to do that nowadays. Yes, there are what is that? Yes, there are laws and regulations that employers have to follow. So if somebody says, I have religious convictions and I don't want to work on Sunday, they had to abide by that. But they always find ways to you know, hey, can you work on Sunday because Baba is not coming? Can you do that? And that's how they get you, you know. So it all looks good on paper, but in practice it's another story. But here, from what I hear from friends, you don't get anything. It's like, I mean, from what I understand, there's no laws or regulations that protect you. Although that there seems to be more protections for workers here than in the States. I'm not gonna say. I'm gonna say that you are more protected here versus the States, because here's more like they can easily fire you if they wanted to, right? From what I understand, maybe I'm wrong, but over there, yeah, they can fire you for anything. You're sick, okay, goodbye, find another job. I've been there, done that, and that's why they call it the corporate rat race. And I'm sure American corporations want to do that here too, if they had their way. So what should you do? In my opinion, if you come down south, go to Argentina, try to find work there, maybe Brazil, and check Uruguay also. But the labor market in Uruguay is pretty tough. And so, like that lady from Michigan, yeah, she struggled for several months before landing a good paying job, and now she's doing well. But if you try to do the same, you're gonna struggle, that's for sure. But if I find a video to that interview, I'll post a link. But she, I think she's earning about $2,500 right now a month, which is pretty good for here, for Uruguay. It might not be for the States, but for Uruguay, $2,500 would be the equivalent of about, heck, I don't know, 4,000 bucks, or that would be about the equivalent of a 40K a year or so, something like that. So, and you have to remember, you don't need to have a car here. You just grab your bike and you can go pretty much everywhere. So there is that. take the bus and call it a day, you know. So you saved a lot of money in some ways, but ideally you want to come with American dollars or euros if you are from Europe, and yeah, that would be the best thing you can do, because otherwise it's gonna be tough, man. So yeah, I think that's all I wanted to say, because I see that question posted oftentimes on places like expat groups and all that stuff, and yeah, it's a common question, and everybody always says the same thing. It's not easy, but you can, if you do find a job, it usually pays really nice. If you find a job, let me get that straight. If you find a specialized job, like in tech or something higher, yeah, you're gonna be earning good money. Probably, if we compare apples to apples, if you compare quality of life, if you find one of those jobs, yeah, you'll probably be better off here than in America. Anyway, I hope you got something useful out of this. I might come up with another video about it once I get more information, but I've been checking the job market for a while, because I was looking to get a job here, and it's not easy. But I wish you the best if you come to Uruguay and you're trying to find something. I think it's worth a shot, you know. Okay guys, it's so noisy here. I'll see you all in the next one.